The land for able learning environment is going to be spread out. It's not going to be like the monolithic large buildings that are there in the schools and educational institutions today. If the children have to learn in and with nature, then they should be living with nature. So we are going to have 30 pods. As I mentioned, that we will be having kids in the age group of 4 to 16, that's 12 age groups. We will have at the most 25 kids or learners per age group. So that brings us to 300 children. And as I had mentioned, there would be 10 children per home. So that brings us to 30 homes or pods. Each pod will also accommodate their host parents, their host grandparents, and up to 4 volunteers. The pods have been designed in such a way that the ground floor level has the learning space. It has a space for the host grandparents because they may not be able to climb stairs and so on, and for the volunteers. The children and the host parents will be living on the floor above, which is level 1, and above that will be their sleeping area. Okay. Each pod will be about 50 feet in diameter. And along with that, another 50 feet will be given as space outside for their kitchen garden and food forest. So they have space for that. Now the gardening will be done in such a way, the food forest especially, that the trees grown there will be taller than the structures they live in. Which means that from one pod you cannot see another pod, you can only see trees, you can only see nature. That is going to be one of the design criteria. It may not happen from day one, but over a period of 10 years the trees would have gone tall enough to hide the living structures that we have built. By doing so, the children are living in and around nature. The whole thing is designed in such a way that there's an ellipse. The 30 pods are in an ellipse. That's because the orbit of the earth around the sun is an ellipse. In the center of the ellipse, we will have 3 large structures, most likely geodesic domes or hypars, which is known as hyperbolic paraboloid. The central one will be about 10,000 square feet. It can accommodate 1,000 people. And then there will be 2 adjacent ones which will be about 5,000 square feet each. We will be having 2 kitchens. These 5,000 square feet structures will be 2 kitchens. Therefore, we have a backup. So if one kitchen fails, we have the other one too. But they will be operational at the same time. These structures, in addition to being gathering spaces, they will also be sports arenas for indoor sports. So we'll be having basketball courts, badminton courts, ping pong, and so on inside these arenas. Sports is important. So we'll have these, and these kids have the benefit of this. Around the acres of this ellipse is going to be about 6 acres, and if you make it into a rectangle, it is going to be 10 acres. So around the 10 acres of space, we will have 40 acres of community space, in which land will be given to families who want to become members of a community and participate there, which I'll explain later. In addition to the 10 acres for learning environment, 40 acres for community, there will be an additional 50 acres of sustainability space. In that, we are going to grow food that we need for ourselves and additional food that can be sold in the market to get revenue, which we can use to fund ourselves. There will be animal husbandry, we will have a butterfly garden, we will have an apiary. Apiary is about bees, so that the butterflies and the bees can pollinate the food that we grow. In addition, there will be a sun park, because sun is the source of energy for all of us. I have been to the Mayan pyramids on Chichén Itzá. I have been to the pyramids in Egypt and Cairo. I have been to the Jantar Mantar in Jaipur, and I'm convinced that everyone should know about the sun. At the Jantar Mantar in Jaipur, you can actually say the time of the day with the sun within 12 seconds of the real time. So children should be able to say the time of the day, they will be able to know the seasons of the year, everything with the sun. And therefore, wherever they go, they'll be able to know time naturally without having to depend on other devices. So with all this, we are creating an environment of about 100 acres at the minimum. So 10 acres for the learning environment, 40 acres for the community, and 50 acres for sustainability. That is the space that we have. Members who are in the community don't have to mandatorily participate in the learning environment. But just by being present there, kids know that families are living together. That's part of the holistic learning environment. So this should give you an idea of what the land for EBBL looks like. There's learning, there's community, there's sustainability space, and space for sun park, butterfly garden, and a apiary. In addition to all this, we'll be having animal husbandry. So we'll have poultry, chicken, all wild range feeding and living. We'll have turkeys, we'll have ducks, we'll have cattle, we'll have buffaloes, we'll have goats, we'll have horses, rabbits, and so on, so that kids can learn about various animals, how they live, and treat them with respect. In addition, we will have alternate energy solutions, which I've already experimented it and will implement them here. We'll have wind turbines, we'll have solar PV cells, we'll have solar water heaters, and we will have biogas. Biogas will be our main source for energy because we have control on how much biogas we can produce. Solar, again, it depends upon the sun. In monsoon, we'll be getting less sun, so again, it's less dependable. Same way, wind is unpredictable. Sometimes we'll get more, sometimes we'll get less, and so on. So that way, we'll be more predictable with biogas. Okay. We'll also be having parabolic solar cookers for cooking meals, at least one meal of the day. So by doing so, kids will learn about alternate energy and save energy that is coming. It is said that for every unit of energy that we use, 13 units of energy have to be generated, which means that for every unit of energy that we use, 12 units of energy are lost from production to the delivery of that energy to the source where it is going to be used. So keep that in mind, that decentralized use of energy is beneficial to everybody, and therefore over time we want to be self-sufficient in energy and not have to draw any energy from the grid.